Okay folks, that was some clips from Volbeat playing the Hydro in Glasgow on Monday the 10th of November. So this video is my gig review from that show. So in it, I'll be going over the venue, the ticket price, the merchandise, what the crowd was like, the set lists, and then my overall opinion on the gig itself. And then as a wee added bonus, I've got some extended footage at the end of it for you to enjoy. So my name's Ricky and welcome to my channel, Relive the Music. So this review video is based off of my experience of seeing them at the show in Glasgow, for which I paid £51 for the ticket, and that was for a seated ticket up in the Club Hydro section, so basically the first level of seating that you see, and it was kind of bang in the middle. So I don't know if it was any cheaper if you managed to get a standing ticket or not. So I do remember when this show was announced like several months ago, being quite surprised that this was going to be at the Hydro, and I remember saying to Kathy and Carol that I thought this was a bit ambitious to try and, you know, sell out the Hydro, and they said, oh no, I think you'll be surprised, they've got quite an appeal, and I was like, right, okay, well we'll see. So yeah, I wasn't really surprised when I turned up and basically the gig was half empty or half full, depending how you want to view it. So I think this just reaffirms the need, I've said this before in some of the videos, for like a mid-range venue in Glasgow, somewhere that will maybe, you know, take 7,500, 8,000 of a crowd, because, you know, we've got the SWG3, which has got about 1,600 people, the O2 Academy 1,800, and Barrowlands about 2,000. You've got Braehead, which is like 5,000, but the transport links aren't good for that. And I've seen Skerryfor have announced a gig at the Emirates Arena over in Parkhead, which is about 5,000, but you don't see too many gigs there, so I'm not sure what that would be like, but I do think there is a need for that gap. I remember going to shows like Deep Purple and Alice Cooper last year, and you know, they didn't sell the gig out either, so I really think there is a call for that kind of mid-range arena. Let me know what you think in the comments about that idea. Okay, so I took a few pics of the merchandise that was there for the t-shirts and things that you could buy, and as standard it was £40 for a t-shirt, which is the sort of norm at the Hydro, and there was about 6 or 7 different t-shirts that you could buy. I was quite tempted. There was a nice sort of one in like maroon that looked a bit different, obviously a different colour, but I didn't buy anything in the end, so let me know in the comments if you picked up a t-shirt or not. Okay, so I took a wee video of the crowd not long before Volbeat came on, and you maybe see from it that it was actually quite empty down in the standing section at the side, you know, it wasn't that busy. And then up where I was in the seating area, the section behind like the second level, it was only really people concentrating in the kind of middle bit, and then gaps at the sides, so the black curtains of shame pulled round, as somebody once referred to it as, and I try and steal that every time. And the whole third level was completely shut off as well, so it was a shame but not really a surprise to me, to be honest. So I thought their stage setup was pretty good though, you know, they had this like wee stage coming out, which was great for like, you know, Michael coming up and singing on, and when the guitarist came up as well, so kind of throughout, you know, they played in unison quite often, the three of them were playing there together and kind of posing, so probably some people got some really good photos and some good footage of that. And they also had visuals at the side, so like TVs of the band like close up, and I couldn't really see that from where I was because I was concentrating in the middle. There was speakers kind of in the way, so I couldn't really see that, but it was good if you maybe had a sort of side view. So Volbeat took to the stage just after 9:05, and they played until about 11:05, and they got through about 18 songs in total, which was standard. I'd been checking the set list beforehand and it seemed to remain pretty constant. So they had 4 songs off of the new album, God of Angels Trust, and those were By a Monster's Hand, Demonic Depression, and then The Long-Winded, In the Barn of the Goat Giving Birth to Satan's Spawn in a Dying World of Doom. What a mouthful that is. And then the other one was Time Will Heal. So there were some favourites of mine on this set list, such as Lola Montez, that was the second song, and then the third one was Sad Man's Tongue, and then we got Shotgun Blues, and then we got Seal the Deal, and then For Evie later on, And then what was pretty cool towards the end, they got a bunch of kids up on stage, or it was meant to be kids, but I know from putting up one of my videos, somebody said that they were up on stage and they were 25 years old, but they looked quite young. So that was a nice wee touch. I don't know how many people they got up on stage. It looked about sort of 24 or so. So they were just up there, and I know that must have been a thrill for those people that got up on stage, because I was lucky enough to do that myself at my first gig in 1993 at Iron Maiden at SACC. And unfortunately there's no footage of that, because that was before mobile phones and things. So these people, I'm sure, have probably had friends and family taking videos of it, and they can look back and cherish it. But that was a nice touch from the band, and you know, those memories will stay with those people, like I say. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the crowd now, and be prepared for a wee moan from me. So, like I say, I was in the seating section, and there was an awful lot of people getting up and down, like going to the bar during Volbeat set. Like, people were getting up 2 or 3 times, which, you know, they're obviously entitled to do so. Personally, it wouldn't be me. Like, when you're going to see a band and you don't see them play that often, and you go and like miss a few songs by just wanting an extra drink. But as I say, everyone's got the right to it. But it's not that upset me. No, there was people. So this was in block 209, row C, and it was seats 142 to 145, so I'll call it out. It's basically 4 guys older than me, probably 60s, I would have thought. One in a red t-shirt with 22 on it, and another guy thin with grey hair next to him, and then a big beefy guy with a beard, and his mate, and they were just talking like the whole way through the show. Like, I've no issue with somebody like kind of saying in between a song, like, oh, what do you think of that, or this song's coming on next, but like, you know, they were showing each other things on their phone and looked like betting sites or just different things, and they clearly had no interest in some of the songs. And this wasn't just like during one song, this was constant. And yeah, you might wonder like, why am I filming it? But this really annoyed me. Like, it's a real pet hate of mine, and that's one of the drawbacks of being seated. So fortunately, because it was quite empty, we did actually move back like 7 or 8 rows as far as we could go in that block after about the 7th or 8th song, and so I couldn't hear them talk as much, but I could still see it in my vision, and it still pissed me off. So if you are watching, then just have a thought, like, be considerate of others. Like, this was part of the reason I redid this review, because the first time I did it, I was just on a right rant, even more than this, and it annoyed me, and it spoiled my enjoyment of the gig, which you'll find out about in a wee minute. But yeah, I mean, the gig's not just there for you, you know, there's other people round about, so be considerate. Let me know in the comments what your views are on like band or gig etiquette. Like, I don't think that's acceptable. You know, normally I hate it when you get like talking during like quiet songs and things. That's why Disturbed Sound of Silence was like immaculately observed when people were there. It was like you could hear a pin drop, but all I could hear was these guys like talking. It just totally pissed me off. Had this been full, I wouldn't have thought twice about going to the stewards and saying and getting those people removed, because in my mind it was like totally out of order. Okay, so having had my wee rant out of the way for like the second time in filming this, because I filmed this last week, and that's part of the reason why I'm redoing this, because I ended up just going on a rant and forgot to talk about the band. So the band were good, so they did their best to get everybody into it. This was a Monday night, and it was a night after the Saxon gig for me, so I just drove to both. I hadn't been feeling well, still not feeling well doing this review. But yeah, he was chatting to the crowd, trying to get them to sing and saying, look, I know it's a Monday night. I thought he was good, you know, his voice sounded really good. The guys in guitar and the drummer as well, thought the sound in the hydro was good. I know a lot of people complain about the sound in the hydro. Personally, I've never had an issue with it. I always think it sounds really good. Whether or not that's where I'm positioned, you know, the fact I'm generally up in the seating area, bang in the middle, so I've got the speakers all around me, as opposed to down the front. I don't know where it might be affected by that. Okay, so just to my final thoughts on this gig, and I'll bring a bit of balance to this. So Carol, that was with me, said that she thought this was the best show she had seen this year. Now bear in mind, we've seen Disturbed and Megadeth, Bullet and Trivium, Iron Maiden, Manic Street Preachers, Skunk Anansie, the Wild Hearts, and probably a whole bunch of others that I'm forgetting about, then you know it is quite something. Now personally, for me, I'm going to say this was the least enjoyable, aside from the Scorpions tribute that I saw at the Classic Grand. So that's down to two things. One, the fact that this was like a half empty stadium. So I think had I been down in the middle, like standing quite near when the band came out, I'd probably have viewed it like totally different. Or if this had been at the Barrowlands or the O2 Academy, I'd probably have loved it. But it just felt flat round about me. It was an awful lot of empty seats. And then because of these numpties next to us that were just interested in talking the whole time, I really just couldn't let that lie. It just annoyed me for the whole night. And I know some people might be thinking like, can I just move past that? But I could see it from when we'd moved, and it just annoyed me. I've got a real thing with noise. I had bad neighbours from when I was like 20 years ago, moved into my first flat. Pissed me off, had issues with it, and I've always had a thing about noise. And I know you might think that's ironic, go to a lot of concerts and here I am complaining about noise, but you know, there's certain noise, like people with their phones out loud in buses and things like that. Like I've got a whole host of complaints. You don't want to start me on it, but yeah, I just couldn't move past that. So I'm just being honest as I am in these reviews. So I'm not going to do all these reviews and God, it's the best gig ever, brilliant, this and that. So fair play if you went to this gig, and I know a lot of comments, people loved this, so fair play, and I'm glad that you had a great time. For me, I walked away feeling flat. You know, I didn't come away thinking, oh, that was shit, but you know, I wasn't buzzing like I was for Saxon the night before, even like Disturbed and Iron Maiden. You know, it just felt flat, and that's just honestly how I see it. Okay, so just before I leave you with some extended clips at the end of this video, just mention this is actually guitar picks in my shirt and not dart flights like somebody thought. So if you have enjoyed my review video, then if you give it a thumbs up, that would be great. And also if you've got points available to click the hype button to see what that does, try and get it on the leaderboard. And if you were at this show, or you managed to catch Volbeat in any of the other shows on this tour, then let me know in the comments what you thought about the performance, and also what you think about me about gig etiquette and stuff like that. And until the next time, have a great day.